They say it's live restricted to some audiences. I don't know why. I don't know who they are and why it is being restricted. I just happened to notice they sent me a notice like that just now. So yes, we are here together, and a lot of things has happened with me today. So to give you just a little bit of a background, is that Johan, one of these guys from the Rapport newspaper, just phoned me and were with me on a phone call. And of course, as you know, the phone call started off with me immediately jumping into a defense mode because of the tone of his voice that I picked up. And I just had to set the record straight there as usually, because I'm so tired already of all these negative influences and, you know, all these chances that people are taking to do the bad and the good and whatever they want and wish upon us. Yeah, so here we are. I'm trying to see what this limitation is on my site. I don't know why, because they say that it is restricted to something numbers and whatever. So let me just put my glasses on and see what this restriction is all about. Restriction, real-time performance overview. Yeah, let me just see who's doing what here and why it is restricted. You are getting diamonds faster than 99% live creators, blah, 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 blah. Let us just go. Content themes that some may find uncomfortable and has been restricted. Reason, alcohol, tobacco, and drugs. Oh, yeah, okay, I see. I've hardly apologized. I didn't mean to do something wrong. Okay, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to celebrate. Take the restriction away. We are not going to be drunk and drinking. We're just happy. We just have a moment of happiness, and I thought that we could, you know, have a good time about it, you know. You know, we've been pulling this wagon all along against all these naysayers and against all these people placing things on our sites and on various media platforms, trying their best to criticize us and to give negative comments and to crowd us out as scammers and God knows what else it was. And I wouldn't be surprised if the newspaper does that also, because obviously it was these naysayers who requested the Rapport newspaper to phone me and to ask questions, because I could immediately pick it up in the voice of the person that phoned me and started asking questions. But as you know me, I don't get pushed around, and I had to put the field straight. I'm not a rude person by nature. And I think we had a good discussion. I think we had a good coverage of what was said. I just hope that they will stay to what the facts is, and that they're not looking for sensation, and that they are looking from everything in a part of neutral, and that they speak the truth. And that's all I'm asking and hoping for. So, yes, we're going to celebrate tonight. I have sent a lot of information out there. I see that our people is not in full numbers here. To hear what is next and how it's going to happen. So I guess they don't have an interest. I guess they are not important. So yeah, I think, yeah, we must somehow get rid of some of them, eh? Because that's just how it is. You know, you're either on board or you off. And we are on the bus, and we are moving towards an airport. And why do I say that? I haven't had the time to place more of the good news that came in today from President Donald Trump onto the group. I'm running from one point to the other, trying to deal with all these people contacting and phoning. And yeah, sorry, I apologize. I will do it immediately after the show, and then we can discuss it. There's no problem with that. But sorry for the late news. I will tell you about it. So yes, first of all, we obviously have to speak about all these naysayers that I lightly touched quickly. When they face defeat and exposure of their lies and their bad language, and that they call people, like I said, they are fast to jump to find a little reason or a little something in their own conception to start demoralizing the victory of other, and somehow trying to deny them the happiness and the good news, of which LZ is one of them. Yeah, and I just wish they get out and go and stay in their box outside. So yeah, the first reading. President Donald Trump have released a document today, and I've released it onto the group's video or onto the WhatsApp group for our members. And I think I have requested my son to do a printout of that document. I just don't know if it has been done. So just give me 1 second to confirm that I can get it so that we can discuss it word for word. Georgie, did you print for me? Bring it. Whoa. Is that the only document? Okay, so here we have a printout from that document. And sorry, it's a little bit small for me. I can't really see that much, even though I've got my glasses on. But we're going to go through it. It says, U.S. Executive Order stands. Since the executive order was signed, well, let me quickly pay attention to stands. U.S. Executive Order stands. I think that means that it is in place. It stands as what it was written and as it was read by the President of the United States of America. And it says, since the executive order was signed by President Donald Trump, it remained official U.S. policy. It remained official U.S. policy. Now, we were discussing this issue last night, and I said that an executive order is part of law. It is not something that AgriForum can come because they don't agree with it, or any other organization, and request the president to just nullify it. No, it becomes part of the policy, unless overturned by Congress, or a court challenge, or a future administration. So now, here comes the future administration, and that is the insecurity that is there with most people, and I think with most of the people sitting here tonight on this platform. And I'm first going to go and say, last night I said to you that a challenge by Congress, and it must go through a court trial or a court hearing before they can nullify or reverse it or suspend it, whatever the outcome might be. Now there we were correct, but now there's something else written here, and it says, or a future administration. So now, let me just clearly explain to you what the future administration's power is concerning such an order. Such an order can be suspended until they can finally maybe nullify it or suspend it forever or take it off the policies. But those people that has been resettled whilst it was legal cannot be involved or acted against and chased to their country of origin. And I think Colonel Chris has also discussed this scenario, and he used the Somalians as an example. And yes, it is just impossible. So from the time the new government takes power, they can suspend that it proceeds to be in power or to be available to a specific group or whatever the case would be. So you who are there already, you are perfectly safe. Just so that you know and that there's no confusion or misunderstanding of that. So here we go. Now we're going to go to the second part. It says, South Africa's opposition, including from groups like AfriForum, does not have direct influence over the USA refugee policies. Now last night, we were discussing this issue exactly. And I said to you that it was not written for the AfriForum people or for a specific organization. It was written for individuals that have an interest by their own choice to take up their refugee status in the United States of America. So now the President of America have confirmed that point on this release of today. Just so that you know, how coincidental can this be? But nevertheless, how people see it, it is not important. Right, here we go. Will the policy face resistance in the USA? Legally and political challenges? Yes, it can. Certainly it can. But until this day that we sit here, from the day of the 29th of February, nobody, no other party or no third party and no individual, no organization or no opposition party or judge or chamber or any person have signed up any petition against it or appealed against it or noted that there is any action against it of any nature. So then now you know that it is quite, and sure, with surety, it is cemented. And we are welcome in their country. Well, that cannot be said for a lot of other people, but I don't want to go into that part. So now we're going to go further and we're going to discuss some US lawmakers and advocacy groups criticize the policy, calling it radically selective and politically motivated. Well, that can be quite a big possibility. But that's opinion. That's their opinion. That's how they see it. And they have to prove, if they want to stand up against it, that their opinion is correct. Or that is the fact, how they see it. And that's going to be one hell of a difficult situation, because the support system behind the president to make this executive order known is of absolute urgency, and because of a real fact that it became to be, because of the situation of the people, especially the white people in South Africa at this moment, and that has been for the last 30 years. So that is a little bit of a hard rock to crack for somebody that want to stand opposed to it. What the opinions is, we all have opinions, but that doesn't make it fact. So here we go. It says, if challenged in US courts, the policy could face legal battles over whether white South Africans qualify as a persecuted group under US refugee law. Of course, anything can be challenged. Any statement you make can be challenged. But like I just earlier on said, not a single institution or person or lobby group have gone to any court and started any challenge against this executive order. And believe you me, they won't. And that's not opinion. Okay, so here we go. We are going now to say Trump remains in office. And for as long as Trump remains in office, the policy will likely continue. Future presidential elections, a Democratic president wins. Let's say a Democratic president wins in 2028. This order could be revoked or altered. But I certainly cannot and will not, by constitution, affect those people that is already relocated and that has already been resettled in the United States of America. It will be for future people wanting to make use of that refugee status. South Africa's response won't ever, I guarantee you, South Africa's response won't ever change US law. They cannot interfere in this refugee status, and they will never change it. Not South Africa. And it is being stated by the President of the United States of America. This is not me who went to type little things on a piece of paper and I'm reading this to you. No. Yes, I am reading it to you, but it's not me who put it together. I have released it on the group, so those people who are on the group, they can obviously have access to it and see it. And then it also says the South African government has condemned the policy, but has no authority to stop the US from granting refugee status. Now you know, they have opposed it. And now there's a big argument here. Or let me rather say, a big question mark. He wants to impoverize us in this country. He is forcing us to give black empowerment partnerships in our businesses for free, which is part of impoverizing. And he's not doing anything about the violence of the white people being killed in this country. He's overloading them with taxes. He's putting 28 million people on SASSA, while there's only 7 million paying tax. And he's allowing this country to become an unsafe haven for anybody. A hell. But then you oppose when people are being given the opportunity to leave. So, how contradictory can you be? Your action speaks louder, but when there's something happening, your words is quick to oppose. As if he thinks they can change this country. Nevertheless, so we're going to proceed then now further and says, Afrikaner groups can decline the offer, but it doesn't remove the policy. It just means fewer people may apply for it. So meaning, here we are. They cannot resist it. They cannot say, "Hi, President, go and change it." They cannot say, "Oh, and we on our side are getting up onto our horses," including me, yesterday morning. I went crazy yesterday morning. We don't need to do that. Because they cannot change that. There's only less people that's going to apply for it, because obviously their members don't want to apply for it. They are the crowd, the little elite that has already been taken care of and think that it's safe enough for them to stay in the country. By all means, let them stay. So, what are we up to? Now, the president says, bottom line, the refugee policy for white South Africans remains, listen, the refugee policy for white South Africans will remain in place for now, unless US courts overturns it, which nobody has made an attempt. Future administrations come in power and revokes it, which is in 4 or 5 years' time, whatever the case would be, if they get the Republicans out, which I doubt very much is ever going to happen in the next 16 years. And then is politically abandoned due to the lack of applicants. Now, this is the point of discussion. Is politically declined, and I read it again, and this is the danger point, is politically abandoned due to lack of applicants. Now, you got to sit back there where you are. And you have to sit and think now for yourself. What was the leftist actions and purposes and reasons, like the Canadian lawyer here in South Africa, Mr. Erasmus, was trying to bring about in false claims and nonsense he talks, and more confusion he tries to spread in our country around this subject, refugee status to white South Africans. Why was there so many people trying to tell you that nothing is being happening, nothing has been noticed yet, while they know that the refugee acceptance program has been reactivated, while they know that there's collection centers you can go to, while they know that the President of America said whilst that refugee acceptance program is suspended, there's 2 other departments that will in the meantime deal with this issue and assist people from case-to-case basis to be relocated and assisted in the United States of America. Why were they trying to confuse people? Or why were they not publicizing the knowledge and the information about it? Why? And this is the same question that the guy from the newspaper, the Report newspaper, asked me. He said to me, but Johan, why do you people know these things? But even the business center in America for South Africa doesn't know about this. And nobody is talking about this. How come that you people know about it? This is what is triggering me. How come you people know about things that we don't? He doesn't even know that there is reporting centers for refugees in South Africa, or that it was published that people who wants to make use of this opportunity, where they have to go in to follow how to get themselves there. It is written, it is been publicized, but people don't pick up. They don't listen. Why? Because somehow, somewhere, I tell you, from my observation, I don't have proof, and I don't have the time to find the proof, but I'm certain it's out there, and people can find it. I am certain that there is groups in the shade working against the publication of these informations, because their aim is not to let the white person leave South Africa. Because we all know what the result will be, unless you live in denial. And that you are welcome to do as well. We are not here to influence you to live in any specific way. Have yourself kicked out. Enjoy where you are. But yes, why is it, and ask this question for yourself today, why is it that every negative part around this was publicized and carried by these angels of negativity all over the platforms and all over the country, while the positive parts of it and the facts of it was never so much concentrated on and publicized? Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the platform of politics. And welcome to the hearts of jealous, envious failures. Wow. Amazing. So we're going to roll over and discuss the rest while you chew on those questions I've posted to you. As of March 7, 2025, and this comes from the President of the United States of America directly, and you go on some of these platforms, you'll find it under his personal X page, and I'm certain by now also on TikTok. It is him who states this. It is him who spoke this. It's not somebody else sitting there talking about this, unless, I don't know. It reads very simple. As of March 7, 2025, which is today, until 12 o'clock or 2400 hours tonight, it says, there have been notable developments regarding the refugee status of white South Africans in the United States. One, implementation of the US refugee policy. Listen to this. Don't get confused by other people again, because I'm not going to correct you. The bus has left. I'm done with this. It says, implementation of US refugee policy. Wow. How coincidental that a month ago I told you myself that the process for you from start till the time that you can leave for the United States of America as a refugee is 3 to 3.5 months. Is that just a period that I thought suit my mind fine? Or did I just put my eyes closed and I pushed the block with a pen and with different months on it and I decided upon that? It's a calculated time. And very simple to explain for the newspaper people and for the people out there that's not with us or who don't like it. As is the case with every industry in this world, there's always leaks. And if you connect it with leaks, not necessarily negative leaks or bad leaks, the word comes out. And things are being prepared. And people are being prepared. So meaning, since the reading on the 29th of February of the executive order, until today that we sit here, they have created the plan. Other people this side started preparing themselves for the plan. Congratulations for them. That was the most important action they could have taken in their entire lives for themselves. Because I bet you from Monday, you'll wait months for your documents. People will crowd the Home Affairs and departments so much that you'll probably get out of this country in the next 2 years' time. Whether you like it or not. Because it reads, and it says very clearly, and this is not the nicest one. The nicest one, I'm going to release on the group's WhatsApp. I'm not going to discuss that one here. Those people who want to find it, go to X and go and find it for yourself, the listeners that are here. But this is for the group. And it's not a secret service. It's just people that deserve to get it. According to my opinion, by the way. So here we go. Following, it says, implementation of the US refugee policy. Not planning, not putting a plan in place, implementation of the policy. Meaning, as of March 7, 2025. So from today, they are practically implementing the plan that they've put together over the last month. While we were busy preparing ourselves and doing nobody harm and bullshitting and scamming nobody. Whether other people like what we were doing or not, it's none of their business. If they wanted to be part and they wanted to be part and they wanted to have that as their business, they would have been involved. I said last night, the bus is departing. I said yesterday morning in my video some of this. Is this also coincidence? So, here we go. Following President Donald Trump's executive order. Listen here. Following President Donald Trump's executive order, prioritizing the resettlement, listen, implementing of the U.S. refugee policy, following President Donald Trump's executive order, prioritizing, I know some people's ears are now burning. They are exploding inside. But kry vir jou boet. Kry vir jou in capital letters. Prioritizing the resettlement of white South Africans. U.S. agencies are now formulating and rolling out these specific plans. The Department of State, and here we go again. We're going back to the executive order, right? Remember, the Departments of State and Homeland Security are collaborating to now implement the U.S. refugee admission program for Afrikaners facing racial discrimination. Oh, for what? For Afrikaners facing racial discrimination. They are not saying farmers. Yes, they're saying Afrikaners. But who's an Afrikaner? If you are living in South Africa, it is for Afrikaners, and you are born here, you are an Afrikaner. Whether you speak German, Dutch, French or Italian, you are born here and that makes you an Afrikaner. If you are born and you are an Afrikaans speaking guy in America, you are what? An Afrikaans American? No, you are an American. If you are an Afrikaans speaking person born in England or Germany, are you an Afrikaans German? No, you are a German. So let's just keep things very basic and very simple. Don't let people once again come and take you for granted and confuse you and disturb you with nonsense. It is not necessary. And yes, they will try. But stop being a bloody victim of nonsense. Right, so here we go. Like I said, the other release that is supposed to be discussed here tonight, I'm going to release it onto the group, the WhatsApp group for those people to whom it matters. And I think even more is going to enjoy the moment. It's even bigger than what this one is. Much bigger. But here we go. Somebody phones me and he says to me, Uncle Johan, there's a very uncertainty here for me and my beloved family members and a lot of our friends that are sitting around the braai and having a beer, and we are talking and we are discussing these things, and we have an insecurity. Do you have some time? Can I talk to you? I said, yeah, for sure, you can talk to me. He says to me, you know, with the development of the politics in our world at this moment, and we all go over to America now, and a nuclear war breaks out there, or a nuclear attack, then we are all dead. Well, I don't know about a nuclear bomb that really can take the whole of America. That's part number one. But that it can take a little space, that's for sure. I don't know. I'm not saying there is none, but I am not aware of any of such gigantic active bombs existing at this moment. There are a couple of them can do that. But let's assume the situation becomes real and a nuclear war between America and whichever country in this world, whether it's North Korea or China or Russia or all of them together, it doesn't matter. Okay, we assume it now happens. Boom! What do you think if all that worlds explode into war, nuclear war, is going to happen to little Africa? You may not get the explosion. That I can guarantee you. And that's not an opinion. If you know your stats and you know your facts, it's very much answering it for itself. Diseases, sicknesses, hunger, violence. We'll finish the rest that are remaining. So what does it matter where you are if it does happen? But the chances that that can happen, I can tell you. And I think if you have something here in between, just two millipita. Just two. You don't need the whole cup. Just 2 millipita here inside. And you are a realistic, reasoning person. The chances that well-informed world leaders on that level in Europe and in America will ever venture into something like that is so slim. I can't even tell you how slim it is. It's too little. Because they all know what the outcome will be for all of them. Immaterial who sent the first. So, I think that should not be your worry. What your worry should be is if you are at all safe here, whether there's war there, or war here, or no war here and no war there. What opportunity do you have here? And what security of safety do you have here? Do you have? I think you can answer that question for yourself. So here we go. I'm stepping off that subject. I just like to answer it somewhere on the platform. So let's talk and discuss. You know, I look at this opportunistical, absolute, pathetic thinking capacity of certain people in this world. You know, I don't even know if that should be discussed on this platform. I'm coming back to the newspaper journalist that phoned me. You know, the assumption by them, by the start, is always of pessimism and negativity. Because it smells nicer, it tastes nicer. It's a lekker thing, you know. Because good news is never, you know, there's no interest in it. There's no fun in it. I don't know why the world has fallen to such a mess. That people's minds find value in thinking destructive. And that just because we grew up in an environment where you can't trust the hair on your broom. What happened with your own humanity? You allowed that hair on that broom to destroy your personal humanity and fairness and realism and understanding and neutrality. Really? Is that what we have become? Well, I didn't. So let me rather keep on paying attention here. So now we have, I want to paint a scenario. You know, why I referred to that now is because, you know, while I was talking to him, I said, look, I keep things factual. I do not move off the facts. And then he was quickly to say to me, which I picked up, he was ready to be judgmental towards me in the article that they are writing. That, no, you can't say that. Because you were telling people, you were sort of scaring them so that they must make up their mind and take up their refugee status and use you. You know, you were lifting your opinions, and that was opinions. And it sounded to me, that's now him, that it was like used to scare people. And you remember the night that we had these discussions on this platform. I was not scaring anybody. I even said to people, please, I'm not saying this to scare anyone. I just want to say it so that everybody remember what has happened, so that they can identify where we are exactly now in the South African situation compared to that. So be careful for the media. They are out to destroy, and they don't know the word support and fairness. I have picked it up tonight, and I will say it to Johan. He's a nice guy. I have no problem talking to him again and again. What needs to be said is said. So here we go. We create a scenario where we are today in South Africa. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not denying that it can happen. And I'm not saying anything to stir or to cause conflict or unrest in the country. We are creating a scenario for South Africa. And the scenario we create is 2003 Zimbabwe. Grab your phones. Check it up. And if it does happen, I hope you have been where you're safe. And I'm not scaring you. And I don't want him, there he sits now and look at this live show. Tell the world out there that I'm scaring anybody. Because that's not it. I am saying, hear my words, I'm factual. I hope that if that scenario does happen, that people who had a choice made the right choice to be safe. But if there's people that want to get into contact with me, like the journalist and everybody else out there, you know, he was so fine-combed, he says, ooh, you know what, I went to your website. It's a business website, by the way. I went to your website, but you didn't write your name there, you know. Hello? I went to your TikTok site. It is on your company name, you know. You didn't write your name there. But he was not there, and he says he watched my videos, and he didn't understand on my first video and 2 that I explained that I said I had this for about 1.5 years. I never made use of it. But when this situation came and everything, when everybody was confused, I saw that I can use the platform, and I used it for this, what we are using it until this day for. No, that he cannot mention. Shame. Anyway, you are all aware of what has transpired. I will always fill you in what turns around me so that you people are informed and well informed, because we are on the bus and they are on the outside, and let them be there. We have been there for everybody. We have been given the good news that will now after this being placed onto the group site, and we take care of ourselves. We're not interested anymore to help those who delayed. They're not part of us anymore. We are enough. We are fine. We do what's good for us. We are on the bus. And we have left. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your beautiful night. It's a Friday night. Like I said, I almost got us banned tonight again. You know, I didn't know this story that they can, block you for some viewers. I see it's still there. I don't know what was the damage today on our group, but anyway, nevertheless, sorry, I apologize for that. I may have had some people limited access to this, and I apologize for that. I was really just happy for the news that came, so please forgive me. I once again made another mistake. But anyway, God bless you. Like it, follow it, and you go and you share this. It's your duty. And hey, the bus is driving. I see the waitress is coming along the aisle here, and I'm definitely booked for a green one. I'm going to have a white steak, a white piece of sausage, and a white one in a green tin. God bless. Enjoy your evening. We talk tomorrow night, same time, same place, same people. We will finish this route on our own. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening. Bye-bye.